Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Historian Rohan, and you're listening to the Historian Rohan podcast. Thank you for tuning in. तो दोस्तों, फाइनली मैं अपना पॉडकास्ट लेके आपके बीच में आ गया हूँ। ये कम से कम ये एक ऐसी बीरबल की खिचड़ी थी, ये पॉडकास्ट जो 2 महीने से पक रही थी और मुझे बहुत जो है प्रॉब्लम दे रही थी, क्योंकि इतनी मेहनत किए जा रहा हूँ और फिर कुछ हो नहीं रहा, मैं रिकॉर्ड कर नहीं पा रहा था, कोई टॉपिक नहीं मिल रहा था ढंग का। तो दोस्तों, ये पहला पॉडकास्ट है। आई होप कि आप थोड़ी सी यू विल बी अ बिट काइंड टू मी, बट बिफोर आई स्टार्ट आई नीड टू गिव अ वर्ड ऑफ थैंक्स to all my followers on Instagram, on Facebook, on Blogger who have seen me work. आप लोग मेरे साथ रहे हो, मेरे फैमिली मेम्बर्स जिन्होंने मुझे सपोर्ट किया है, मैं आप सबका शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि अगर आप लोगों का सपोर्ट नहीं होता तो ये पॉडकास्ट आज नहीं होता। सो प्लीज़ आई वुड लाइक टू अगर यहाँ पे भीड़ होती तो मैं सबको बोलता कि प्लीज़ गिव अ राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज फॉर दीज गाइज, लेकिन कोई है नहीं। तो प्लीज़ आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू यू, सो थैंक यू। नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द पॉडकास्ट। तो दोस्तों, हिस्टोरियन रोहन पॉडकास्ट में 2 टाइप के एपिसोड्स होंगे। एक एपिसोड होगा जो सीरीज ऑफ पोस्ट्स होंगे, सीरीज ऑफ पॉडकास्ट होंगे, किसी एक पर्टिकुलर थीम को छेड़ रहे होंगे, चाहे वो मुगल हिस्ट्री हो या दिल्ली सल्तनत हो या जो भी XYZ। और दूसरा टाइप का जो एपिसोड्स होंगे वो होंगे स्पेशल्स, जो कम होंगे, क्योंकि वो बेसिकली इंटरव्यूज़ और कॉन्वर्सेशंस और डायलॉग्स होंगे। तो आज का जो पॉडकास्ट जो मैं आपके पास लेके आया हूँ वो एक कॉन्वर्सेशन है, एक इंटरव्यू ही समझ लीजिए। तो मेरे साथ इस शो में शिरकत कर रही है मिस तन्मय प्रकाश। आप बेंगलुरु से हैं, आप स्टूडेंट जर्नलिस्ट हैं और आप एक राइटर भी हैं। जो टॉपिक है काफ़ी सीरियस टॉपिक है, और मैं काफ़ी टाइम तक सोचता रह गया कि क्या मुझे इतना सीरियस टॉपिक छेड़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि टॉपिक है गांधी जी, वीर सावरकर एंड कम्युनलिज्म इन इंडिया। तो ये बड़ा ही जो है ना सीरियस टॉपिक है, और मैं वही सोचता रह गया कि यार करना चाहिए कि नहीं। कुछ ऊंच नीच का हो जाए तो मैं तो मशहूर हो जाऊंगा पहले एपिसोड के बाद ही, तो फिर इतना मशहूर भी नहीं होना ना, तो इसलिए। तो खैर हमने बड़े ध्यान से इसको पूरा मतलब कि हमने डिस्कस किया, आइडियाज़, अपने फैक्ट्स चेक किए, और उसके बाद हमने इंटरव्यू पेश किया। तो दोस्तों, आज का जो हमारा जो टॉपिक है जिसे मैं छेड़ रहा हूँ, गांधी जी, वीर सावरकर एंड कम्युनलिज्म, तो ये आज के डेट पे जो है बहुत ही रेलेवेंट है ये टॉपिक। क्योंकि अब आप ये सोच सकते हैं कि हिस्टोरियन रोहन का इस टॉपिक से क्या लेना देना। तो बात यह है कि काफ़ी सारी बहस जो आज के डेट पे जो लोग कर रहे हैं वो हिस्ट्री के बेसिस पे कर रहे हैं। वीर सावरकर एंड महात्मा गांधी जी बोथ वर हिस्टोरिकल फिगर्स, मॉडर्न इंडिया के फिगर्स हैं, और एक हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव इस पे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बनता है। आज के डेट पे जो हमारे जो सोसाइटी में जो सिचुएशन है, इसका भी एक हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव है। इस हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव को जानने के लिए ये पॉडकास्ट आई थिंक काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया। जैसे कि आप जानते हैं, मुझे ऐसे तारुफ कराने की ज़रूरत नहीं। आई डोंट नीड टू इंट्रोड्यूस महात्मा गांधी जी और वीर सावरकर टू यू। बोथ आर प्रीटी लाइक बिग फिगर्स। Mahatma Gandhi ji is the father of the nation. He led India's independence movement, whereas Veer Savarkar was the chief ideologue, or the first ideologue, of the concept of Hindutva. He was in Ratnagiri jail when he wrote his Hindutva, who is a Hindu, जिसमें उन्होंने बड़े क्लियरली बोला है कि उनका हिंदू बोलने का मतलब ये नहीं कि जो रिलीजन से हिंदू हो, उनके लिए हिंदू वो है जो कल्चर से हिंदू है। तो इसके बारे में हम इंटरव्यू में आगे हम डिस्कस करेंगे। तो एक हिस्टोरिकल, जैसे कि मैं कह रहा हूँ, मैं बार बार कहता हूँ कि हर चीज़ का, हर इशू जो है सोसाइटी में, दुनिया में आप कहीं पे भी चले जाओ, उस इशू का कुछ ना कुछ लेना देना पास्ट से होता है। और जिस दिन हम अपना पास्ट सही से समझ गए, उस दिन हम अपनी प्रेजेंट को सुधार लेंगे। सो तन्मय, प्लीज़ कैरी ऑन।
Hello everyone. I am Thanmaya Prakash, a student of Masters in Journalism and Mass Communication at St. Joseph's College, Bengaluru. Hello, sir. My first question for you is, what is your view on the communal violence in the country? What do you think is the root cause for conflicts such as hijabro, demolishing mosques, communal riots, and religious fanaticism?
So, Tanmaya, the communal violence, which in turn is seeding distrust amongst the Indian society, couldn't have come at a worse time. Today, the world is divided into camps due to the Russo Ukraine war. China is looking at the outcome to put into motion its own expansion plans. China has also shaken hands with Pakistan. This is a time when the Indian society should stand united, to stand up to the enemy in the north, an enemy who is sitting within our borders. The root causes for communal disharmony range from a belief in one's own religious supremacy to taking economical advantage by the marginalization of a community and removing them from a particular trade or taking over their property to simply believing in the concept of doing away with those who look like the other.
So, my second question for you is, why do you think Gandhi emphasized communal harmony? Do you see any improvement in the communal atmosphere post independence and presently?
So, Gandhiji is called father of this nation for a reason. He had his fingers on the pulse of our nation. Unlike a majority of nations in the world, India has a lot of diversity, not just religious but ethnic, linguistic, and regional, to say the least. So, just like in meditation, in order to gather your power of concentration, you have to focus on your breath. Similarly, in order to gather the Indian society, Gandhiji recommended us all to focus on Indian nationalism. The communal atmosphere has stayed the same post independence. With time, it has only worsened. This is because of the failure of our political class to deliver basic services like quality education, healthcare, infrastructure, and employment to Indian citizens. These services are available to all developed nations, but not to Indians everywhere. Indulging in politics of appeasement by Indian politicians to win votes has not helped either. We are going to celebrate the 75th year of our independence. Shouldn't we wonder why we are still low on the Human Development Index? It is these things which foment unrest and create a fertile ground for social and religious unrest.
My third question for you is, what is your view on Savarkar's Hindutva ideology? Do you think Savarkar's Hindutva is a threat to minorities?
So, as per his Hindutva ideology, Mr. Savarkar defined a Hindu as one whose motherland, Matrabhumi, land of ancestors, Paitrabhumi, and Holy Land, Punya Bhumi, were in India. He did not say only adherents of the Hindu religion were Hindu. So he attempted to define who was an Indian, and in that endeavor, he said anyone who had Indic aspects in his life and culture was an Indian. This is my understanding. So for him, not only Hindus, but religious minorities like Buddhists, Jains, and Sikhs were Hindu too. That said, it is my opinion that he missed out on a majority of Indian Muslims and Indian Christians who also have Indian culture and love for the motherland, Matrabhumi, in their DNA. It is also my opinion that as almost all Indian Muslims and Indian Christians ancestors are buried in India, India is their land of ancestors or Paitrabhumi as well. Yes, the holy lands of Indian Muslims and Christians is not in Indian territory, but in the 21st century, that should not serve as a disqualifier. George Harrison was the lead guitarist of the Beatles, a Hindu and also a British. So, would it make sense for the British to disown him because his holy land was in India? Famous poet Dr. Rahat Indori said during the emergency of 75-77, सभी का खून शामिल है यहाँ की मिट्टी में. Everyone's blood is present in India's soul. So the concept of holy land, that is Punya Bhumi, to be located in India in order to be considered culturally an Indian, needs to be relooked at and reinterpreted, keeping the 21st century in mind. I think any culturally well adjusted Indian Muslim and Christian is an ethnic Indian. So, to answer your question, inaccurate interpretation of Mr. Savarkar's Hindutva can be a threat to the minorities.
My final question for you is, we have been conditioned to think that Hindu temples were always attacked by Muslim rulers. Territorial wars during the olden times have been projected as religious wars. What is your comment on this? Is there any particular historical reference where Hindu rulers built mosques and Muslim rulers building temples? In the present context, there have been attacks on religious places. What do you think about that?
This is indeed a good question, Tanmaya. So, you see, in history, context is very important. If we misinterpret context, then misunderstanding historical occurrences is guaranteed. Yes, there have been numerous instances in history where temples were attacked by Muslim rulers, but was there a religious angle to every attack? The answer is no. So sorry, but no. So, why were temples attacked? If a Muslim ruler had a problem with the Hindu religion, he would have tried to forcefully convert everyone to Islam, but no such actions were taken on a large scale. So, we need to understand the social, not religious, value of a temple in medieval India as well. In the old times, there were no televisions, no banks, no museums. So it was a temple which legitimized the rule of a dynasty or a ruler. Also, all the valuables in the form of finances or material were stored either in the king's treasury or in temples. Similarly, given that there was no Facebook or WhatsApp, people who dissented with the ruler could socially meet only at temples. So, this is why an invading army or a ruler cracking down on insurgents would attack a temple. I am not saying that there were no fundamentalists who attacked a temple for religious reasons. Just saying those cases are not the majority of cases. Politically speaking, attacking a temple which legitimized the rule of the defeated ruler was necessary in the eyes of a victor, be it a Muslim or a Hindu. Always remember, even when a Hindu ruler defeated a Hindu ruler and annexed his kingdom, he would go to the main temple of the defeated ruler, take all the treasure and also the statue of the deity and install it in his own temple. The argument being that deity has stopped blessing the defeated king and now blesses the victorious king. Example, Pallav ruler Narasimha Varman looted the image of Ganesha from the Chalukyan capital Vatapi when he defeated the Chalukyan ruler. Another example is Man Singh, a relative of Akbar, when he defeated the Raja of Jessore in Bangladesh today. He took the presiding deity from his temple and brought her to Amer. Today it is famous as Shila Devi temple. Vis-a-vis instances of temple maintenance, almost all Mughal rulers post-Akbar treated temples as state property and issued monetary support for the temple's upkeep, as well as upkeep of the Brahmins running the temples. So unlike the impression which has been created, Mughals protected a lot of temples too. Vis-a-vis the temple instances of Muslim rulers like Nawab Safdarjung constructing temples in Awadh region or Hindu rulers constructing minor mosques in their kingdoms are there. It's just that these constructions were not major architectural wonders, which is why we do not talk about them. Attacks on religious places have been happening due to various reasons. Sometimes it is due to mosques being built on disputed areas, and sometimes attacks have been made just to intimidate communities. In the first case, the leaders of the society need to come forward and find a middle path to the dispute, as we all have to coexist together. The community leaders should not leave it all to the court or the government. In the second case, the administration should treat it as a law and order problem and deal with it as per the constitution. So you asked me to give examples of Muslim rulers building temples. I have given instances of Muslim rulers protecting or supporting temples. So you need to understand that a Muslim man, if he builds a temple directly, he risks getting into trouble by the ulama. So if a Muslim ruler sees a need for a temple in, say, a village, he will issue the money to the Brahmin or the village headman who will in turn build the temple. This is my opinion.
During these times, when communal distrust refuses to come down, you have answered most of the questions related to the roots of communal divide. You have also spoken about the steps that can be taken to curb the communal mindset of all those who see their brother Indians as unequal to themselves. Sir, I thank you for sharing your knowledge and opinion with us, and I would like to end this podcast with a small quote by Mahatma Gandhi ji. Gandhiji said, "The key to the solution of the tangle lies in everyone following the best in his own religion and entertaining equal respect for other religions and its followers." Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Tanmaya. It was a really wonderful chat. So, friends, if you liked my podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you over here next week at the same time. Thank you.